And welcome back to the week of What If in part 3 of What If Naruto was adopted by the third Hokage. There really isn't any house cleaning for me to really touch upon here. I'm not going to continue the whole argument about, the Hinata versus Sakura thing. I just looked into it more over the weekend, and I'll probably bring it up later in the series, just because it'll be prudent for whoever he ends up with. But for now, we'll leave it rest. But, I mean, truth be told, I do a whole video on the verses between Naruhina and Naro Sakura, but I don't need to get half the internet on my ass. Because let's be honest, you do a video like that, sorry to say, you're going to get, as much as most of my viewers, if not all my viewers, are very respectable people, you're going to get a lot of people just like, ah! So no, we're not going to do that. But anyway, we last left off with the bell test basically getting ready. Naruto goes home and he basically has dinner. The third basically finally comes home after a long day. It's like, Naruto, how was your day? I know, how was your day? How was you meeting your new sensei? It's like, you tell me, old man, or you tell me, Gramps, you're the one who assigned me to his team. It's like, and he's like, did I now? Well, it seems it went pretty well. Yeah, but now we got a test tomorrow. You wouldn't happen to know anything about the test today, like what it goes down, or how it goes, or what's going to be expected of us? Oh, I might know a thing or two, but that would be cheating, Naruto. But don't worry. Naruto's like, yeah. But the third actually just gives him a says, don't worry. But the way you've come up as a shinobi, as a young man, you'll be just fine. He's like, yeah, thanks, Grandpa. All right. But at least tell me this. Should I eat breakfast tomorrow? Did he tell you not to? Yeah, he did. Be sure to eat. And honestly, he decides to just screw Kakashi a little bit. It's like, because he knows Kakashi's record. Maybe a granola bar in the morning or something. It's like, got it. So anyway, then the next day comes. They're all there bright and early. Naruto's tired as always, but he's not as hungry as he was. He brought some granola bars and he's like, hey, Sakura, that's it. Oh, Naruto. And Sasuke's just there. They're waiting, and, he can kind of hear their stomachs a little bit, just go, and Sakura, obviously, I still imagine she does the diet thing, because as much as she's not a fangirl in this one, I still think she's trying to impress Naruto and kind of going about it the wrong way, thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to impress him and stuff like, nah, it's like, Sakura, are you hungry? It's like, wait, here, I packed some extra granola bars. It's like, where am I supposed to eat? Yeah, well, my grandpa's kind of gave me a hint that maybe it was okay to do so. It's like, wait, it's like, she remembers, well, that's right, he's the son of or he's the adopted son of their grandson, in this case, of the third Hokage. It's like, well, if the third said it was okay, yeah, might as well. And, Naruto looks at Sasuke and just like, you want one? And Sasuke's just, yeah, sure. I'm just, so I also was not to be like, healthy breakfast, but not to be like, they've staved off their hunger pains, they'll have a bit of energy. Eventually, Kakashi shows up. Oh, so there you are. Well, you're late. And that's going to be Naruto every time. You're late. Sorry about that black cat crossed my path, so I had to go the long way. All right, this is the test. Take these two bells from me, basically. And obviously he lays out the rules. And Sakura, I think, would point out, it's like, there's only 2 bells. It's like, right, that way only one of you is going to be left in the academy. And Naruto, I think, is definitely thinking on, like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Why the hell would they send him off his back? There's no 2-man team. There's 3-man teams. There's the count, and then he just says, and go, and he goes to hide. But he immediately goes to find Sakura, because he's like, something's not right. He can't put his finger on it, can't finger it out. But he just can't figure, but he can know if something's off. And, basically to just keep Kakashi busy, he sends a couple clones after. I think, like, what you get there is Naruto playing up the part a little bit. It's like, trying to take him on. It's like, you're a bit different. I would expect a member of the Saratobi clan to have a bit more decorum. But if this is the way you want to go about it, fine. To which Naruto does better in the hand-to-hand fight, but he still can't can't compete with Kakashi. And sure enough, it's like, Hidden Leaf Jutsu, 1,000 years of death. It's like, poof. It's like, oh, it was a shadow clone the whole time, huh? Interesting. And then a couple more clones come out. It's like, oh, I see. So that's the way you're going to play, huh, Naruto? So Naruto's giving him a decent little fight, but nothing he can't handle. Meanwhile, he finally meets up with Sakura. It's like, Naruto, wait, how does he? It's like, Sakura. It's like, Naruto. It's like, yeah, sorry, I needed to find you, a few in Sasuke, and I didn't want to find out, so I figured I'd throw some clones at him to distract him. Oh, that's really smart. It's like, yeah, doesn't something about this seem odd to you? And like they're discussing it, and eventually, you know, they decide to go find Sasuke. Sasuke, who at this point has not moved from his spot, because he didn't let his guard. He didn't attack Kakashi until he thought he let his guard down at that point when he was berating Naruto. This is not Kakashi. This is not the scenario Kakashi's in. Kakashi's guards. First off, we know Kakashi's guard was up to begin with, but Kakashi's guard is immediately up because he continually is fighting a couple Narutos every now and then. Naruto probably made like a good 5 or 6 clones, but only sent like 2 or 3 at a time. So, you know, once Kakashi was getting done with like the final clone, a couple more come out to keep him, keep pressing him. Eventually they do finally make their way around to where Sasuke is hiding, and the Sasuke is like, "What are you doing here, Naruto?" Sakura's like, "Wait, what are both of you guys doing here?" Sasuke, hear Naruto out. It's like, "Well, what?" And he's like, "This doesn't make any sense." He says there's only 2 bells, only 2 of us can pass, but there's no such thing as a 2-man team. It's like, so what's your point? It's like, I think this is part of the test itself. Because I don't think any one of us can take him on. The only way to get it is by working together, and even that's going to be a long shot. I think this is just a test that Naruto basically just, because Naruto, like I said in the previous videos when it talks about Naruto academically, Naruto isn't stupid. Like, even especially when we see him later in the series, Naruto clearly isn't stupid. He's just not very academic. That's like I think is where Naruto's intelligence really doesn't play to his benefit. He's not an academic student like Sakura or Ino or Sasuke was. He's not going to get perfect grades regardless. If he had proper study, he probably would have been average, maybe even above, but he wouldn't have been top of the class in terms of his academics. In terms of the other fields of study, that is different. Hell, I actually saw a list that actually talked about his actual grades. Like, he got F's and D's a lot, but he actually got A's and B's in like taijutsu and personality kind of thing. So he wasn't a complete flunky, though he still was the dead last when it came to all of his academics, which sucked for him. So it's like, and Sasuke, unfortunately, I think is still kind of on that ego high. It's like, I don't need either of your help. I can do it myself. But if you want to go and try, then by all means go. It's like, oh, come on, we can do this. We can do this. We can do this together. We can't do it by ourselves. Yeah, don't worry, just watch me. I think this does, after the next clone gets taken out, does prompt Sasuke to do that. I'm not like Sakura or Naruto. Take that after you got one of those bells. Isn't that right, my Sasuke? But obviously that's not the case here. We don't get the my Sasuke thing because she's more into Naruto. But I think he does jump the gun because he's the best in the class. Sasuke's ego is very much on display a lot in part 1. It's less ego in part 2 and more just thirst for power, arrogance, and not giving a shit. I mean, there's definitely, like I said, arrogance falls into ego, sure. And there is definitely still some of that there. It's always been there up until like the final arc, like near the end, where he finally got beat by Naruto, and like Boruto, where he's matured and mellowed out. Now, especially part 1, he's used to being the best in his generation, so in his class, so that ego is definitely there. And I think Naruto saying like we can't take him one-on-one, I think kind of plays into that just a little bit. So Sasuke goes, he does about as well as he did originally. Now keep in mind, the time frame of what's going on here is much different than what it went on in the original. This is much earlier in the test than it was initially. So ultimately, Kakashi buries Sasuke down up to his neck. It's like, well, you are different than Naruto, Sasuke, but that's not always better. They say it's the nail that sticks out. I can't remember the actual saying that was done. They say the nail that sticks out the most is the one that gets hammered down. To which then all of a sudden he hears he sees a bunch of Narutos. It's like, again with this Naruto, you're really gonna have to do better if you want to take if you're gonna surprise me. And one surprise me, and just he's about to get ready. All of a sudden they go, great breakthrough, and Kakashi just boom, and just kind of gets blown back. It's like the third had told me he knew Winjutsu, but to use a common multiple clones for a massive great breakthrough like that, I gotta admit I wasn't expecting that. Like he's like legitimately like he gets blown back a good. I'd say several dozen yards. Like he gets blown into a tree line, but he's fine. I mean, he doesn't like hit a tree or anything like that. But he's like he got caught by surprise a little bit. There's like I didn't expect him to do something like that. So meanwhile, the clones are helping. His clones are looking over, and Sasuke is like, "Now, do you want to work with us?" He's like, "Fine. We don't have a lot of time. Like, fine, just do it." Just fine. Just don't get in my way. No, if anything, I'm gonna need your help. And so Sakura got it. And Sakura is now like makes some clones. It's like you're gonna have to do better than that, Sakura. As he does nail Sakura, but only for Sakura to grab on. Turns out it's a Naruto clone. It's like what? And several of the Sakuras turned into Narutos as well, and they just got their hands with the window. It's like Gale Palm. Oh crap! And he just swings the Naruto clone right into the Gale Palms. They're able to avoid him, but all of a sudden he hears fire style, fire will just a wind style, great breakthrough, fire style or collaboration art. I can never remember the name I give this, but Hellmouth Flame. I'm making one up. Just boom, and it's like it's like crap. It's like water art, water style, water dragon. He goes through the hand sides, just do water style, water barrier jutsu, and then it's actually evaporating the water. It's that hot, but he's able to avoid it. And all of a sudden, he comes in now with just kunai and everything, just nailing them in ways that hurts. But he's not causing massive injury. And to which Naruto pulls out his his garrote knives, and it's Winjutsu in him. Kakashi's like he can even. Yeah, because he's like, that's Asuma's technique, and you realize, Asuma, you son of a bitch, you taught him that, and which Naruto's now getting in close, and now Kakashi is actually having to put some effort in, like, oh crap, and like the blade extends a little bit, actually nicks him at one point, like, okay, that's enough of that, and he's like, Earth style, mud wall jutsu, and then all of a sudden Naruto gets thrown up in the air, he loses one of his knives, but he's able to like jump over. Because he comes in, him and Sasuke are duking it out with him, back and forth, and the time's running out. They can tell time's running out, but ultimately, Kakashi just is able to land the gut checks on. They go flying, just, and they're both getting up. This I must say that is quite the coordination, impressive. But unfortunately, and because Kakashi would have tied it. And say, time's up, and I don't believe you failed. You failed to get the bells. So who's going to be tied up? I wonder. It's like, and to which Naruto is actually, I'm sorry, Kakashi Sensei, but what are you talking about? Not getting the bells? He's like, to which he's like, what? Well, you didn't get that, and he realizes where'd they go? It's like all of a sudden. Of all the people, he's like, oh, Kakashi Sensei. It's like, and he just turns around and he's like, there's Sakura holding the bells. So what happened in this scenario, in this situation? Well, Kakashi wasn't actually, first off, because he knows Sakura's the weakest in physical combat. So he assumed he took her out pretty quick. But what they weren't banking on was the fact that, it wasn't the real Sakura. So and because Sasuke and Naruto were the main combat players, and he wasn't actually expecting Sakura to get in there. What he didn't realize was Sakura was still among the clones that had been created, because only a certain amount of them were Naruto clones, and that Naruto didn't drop his garrote knife. He had basically tossed it to Sakura, who channeled her chakra as best as she could. Now, with her chakra control, which we knew in the original series was the best of the three at the time. And if I'm going to be honest, probably still remain the best of them. I don't know. If I'm not mistaken, again, it's not about Kunoichi's having smaller chakra reserves, Shinobi's having large chakra reserves. I think I just know the smaller chakra reserves you have, the easier it is to control it. Again, it's kind of like, the best way I can put it is, imagine like pouring out liquid and trying to control where it's going. The less of a liquid you have, you're going to be able to basically kind of aim. Actually, this probably isn't the best analogy. It's a matter of, what's the best way to put it? Imagine trying to condense air into a solid ball. The less air you have, the easier it is to condense it, and the easier it is to control it. Now, that being said, you don't have a lot to go with. The more air you have to try to condense, it's going to be harder to compress that into a smaller ball, hence more control. That, I think, is a better analogy. And Sakura, as far as I know, did not have a lot of chakra to begin with. But because she had such finite control, she was still able to kind of do the chakra blade thing, albeit without wind chakra. And basically, if the garrote knife is kind of like that, holding like that, it's like that. Naruto can probably get it, because of his wind chakra, can probably get it like to a decent length. Sakura can get it about half as long, but still, he didn't expect that from her, so she quickly swiped the blade, or used the blade swiped, extended, and just nicked the bells off, because the amount of noise going on, Kakashi wasn't paying attention, and ultimately, yeah, she got the bells. So he's like, he's like, well, I'll be damned. He actually has to lie, like, I gotta say, that's impressive, but still, only two of you, there's only two of you, so which one of you are getting the bells? Which Naruto ends up saying, okay, you can drop the Kakashi Sensei. We both know that's not what this test was about. Oh, and to which Kakashi would say, don't tell me your third ratted me out. No, Gramps didn't want to get ratted out too bad, but he did basically say that I had what it took as to be a proper shinobi, and the test then makes sense to begin with, and Naruto basically points out the flaws, and Kakashi can't help but kind of like smiles, like, he's intuitive, just like his dad. It's like, well, looks like you found me out. And it's so tell me, do we pass or not? Well, and Kakashi just looks at it like, well, and he goes into a spiel about, shinobi and, teammates and all that, and about working together and teamwork. And he can tell, too, that at least Sakura and Naruto are actually on really good terms. Like, they're good friends. Sasuke still got a way to go, he can tell. But still, they've got a good potential. It's like, well, there's nothing to tell us that Team 7 passes. I will start missions tomorrow. So, there you go. Now, we're only at the 18-minute mark, so we can go about 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes more. Maybe like 25-minute mark. So, Naruto and Sasuke, Sasuke goes off. So Naruto and Sakura go celebrate a little bit. And it's like, oh, I can't believe we're going to beat the Shinobi. Yep, this is going to be awesome. Yeah, and Sakura, I think, does like, so, do you maybe want to go do something to celebrate? And Naruto's like, well, I mean, sure. It's like, sure. I mean, I'm sure Gramps and Ozma, our Uncle Ozma and all of them are going to want to celebrate too. But yeah, I can hang out for a little bit. I don't say, and she's like, yay. But again, she's not, because let's be honest, Sakura was a thirsty girl back in the original series. Just was like, I'm desperate, just leaning in for that kiss. Like, oh man, no, this Sakura is definitely a lot more composed. This is more her really getting to know Naruto. Them, I guess, kind of having little mini dates without the romance, though. She's in her head. She's like, well, maybe if I kind of feign and maybe just kind of like fall into his arms, something like that, maybe lean on him a little bit. Maybe it's like, no. We're good friends at the moment. We can be more. We can be more. I will be more. I will be Naruto's wife someday. But no, we're just gonna take it back. Take it back. Like, that's the thing. She's still got the giddiness of this canon Sakura for her crush on Naruto. Like, but she's a lot more mature about it and in control over it. But she still get those moments where it's like, And she's like, and she grabs on Naruto's arm as they're kind of celebrating, maybe getting some like a dessert or something like that. And so Naruto's like, kind of blushing a little bit. Meanwhile, Hinata's probably like, it's like, oh no, she's looking on probably, because I'm sure she was stalking Naruto multiple times. I've heard a lot of people saying, again, I don't want to get too much into the Naruto Hina debate anymore, but at least for right now, but saying that she was a lot more like obsessed with Naruto than in love with Naruto. And actually, I'll be honest, coming in from part one, I actually see that argument. That's not this. Let's be clear though. That's not to say she didn't have romantic feelings, but because of her shyness, it did come off as you're not wrong. It did come off a little bit as obsession. I think that got fixed in part two though. Even though we don't get a lot of Hinata in part two, obviously Sakura's the main member of the team. That got fixed a lot more, whereas Sakura's character actually suffered a bit more. It's weird. She suffers in part one. And she then improves and then goes downhill in part two. Very odd. But yeah, but I won't argue anyone if it says it was kind of a little bit of like obsessiveness. I'm not going to argue it a little bit in part one anyway. And again, in part two, they fixed it because she's not stalking them anymore in part two. So, yeah. Anyway, you see, she's probably like, she's a little jealous. Oh no, are they going out on a date? No. They're just friends. They're just friends. They're probably going. They just want to celebrate. That's it. Yeah, she's in her head too. And sure enough, like she sees there's like no kiss or anything like that. She does give Naruto a hug though, and Naruto's like, like doesn't get too many hugs even from except from his family. So from a attractive female acquaintance, like, oh, well, hugs. Nice. Anyway, yeah, and they go off, and I was like, whew. So, ultimately, we cut to now missions going on with them. I imagine the Lost Cat Tora thing would still go the same. Naruto gets his face grabbed. I hate cats! And then, obviously, the third is, going over the missions and stuff like that. And Naruto... I don't think Naruto has the outburst he has in the original, because he's not a brat in this one. I do think, though, he does speak up. It's like, hey Gramps. It's like, how dare I know he's your grandfather. I know he's your family, but you should still call him Honorable Third. And to which he just looks at us like, no, I'll call him what I want to call him. But hey, it's like, can't we qualify for something at least a bit more difficult? I mean, yeah, I get it. We got to work it up to like the C rank missions, stuff like that. But haven't we done enough of these? I mean, these are really easy missions. Honestly, academy students should be honestly doing these things. And even Sasuke and even Sakura and Sasuke are both like, yeah, I gotta admit, it's like, yeah, we could use something to test this a little bit. It's like, yeah, these are pointless. Naruto's actually right. It's like, we do have one mission, and so the bridge builder comes in, and he still is drunk, and he still comments on Naruto's height and all that. Which, to be fair, I do think Naruto's a little taller than he is in the series. I'd say let's actually put him at the same height level as Sakura in this. He's not taller, I think, because he still loves ramen. Actually, apparently his favorite food is actually like red bean soup, from what I learned. Though ramen, I think, is like the close second. Naruto doesn't like, because like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. It's more like, drunk old bastards like that. Would you say? It's like, Naruto, no, insulting the customer now. The client. Now, I am Tazuna, master bridge builder. I must get back to my bridge. Actually, let me see if I can get my Tazuna a little better, because I'm pretty much done with the video. I want to see if I can get that impression right. I am. Damn it. I could do a Tazuna a while back. Hold on, I got a little stuff in my throat. Okay. I am Tazuna, master bridge builder. I must get back to my bridge. That's the best I can do. It's not like my Gamabunta voice, which I can do great. I can do a good Gamabunta, no problem. I've had many people compliment me on the Gamabunta, and I'm very proud of the Gamabunta. Plus, I can do the brilliant Jiraiya. And my guy, the handsome blue beast of the Hilton Village. I can do a lot. I don't try to brag too much about it, but I can do a fair good of impressions from a lot of characters in a lot of series. I'm trying to think, is there any other ones that I'm really good at in terms of Naruto? I can do Gaara pretty well. Trying to think here. Oh, no. I'm trying to do the old man. Old man, I have a little trouble with. Sarutobi. I can do some inflections with Orochimaru and Zabuza, the demon of the leaf. I can kind of do a Zabuza when I'm in the right mood. Other than that, though, after that, it does get to Kurama. But I get that one. That's difficult to keep up a conversation with. So I don't do that one in-depth conversation style very often. And that's just Naruto. And I could probably do more if I really thought on it more. But no, that's where I think I'll leave my impressions for the time being. Until then, though, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. That's where we're leaving part 3. Part 4 will be on Wednesday. I've got to pre-record my other What If for tomorrow and Atlanticorp. We'll do Atlanticorp first. So keep your eyes out for that. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Later. Oh, and hit that bell if you want to be notified. As always, later.